This is a demonstration of an enhanced user interface for a content management system built with Drupal 7 for a large food company. And the first thing you see is it's got several graphic menus at the top, images and text. And these represent the different categories of content. So we have a homepage section, we have articles, we have brand, components, recipes, and at the end we have some administrative user interfaces that are collected into one grouping there for easy access. Below that we've got the inbox basically for the workflow system, and we'll get more into that in a minute. Let's just take a look at the articles first. In the articles section there's three subsections. One is the articles themselves, there's the categories and the tags. Those last two are taxonomy vocabularies. And if you click on that, you go right, actually, it's not, you're going to the same page that Drupal goes to, but the page is enhanced with this usage context of the menu system and so on. So we can never get lost, we never lose our way. And then if we go into the articles subsection, we can see a list of the articles, but again, it's an enhanced list. It's got visual cues like the primary image, it's got the tags themselves. If they exist, we can see ice cream there. It's got the schedule published and schedule unpublished dates. That saves you from having to go into each one of those nodes to look to see what those settings are. Those are useful settings for this context, and they're brought out and delivered to the user so they don't have to work. If you compare that to the standard Drupal interface, the content list, it's very flat. It's very low level. It's just a list of nodes, and it doesn't tell you much. It doesn't reveal much about how those nodes are being used within the business itself, within the business context. So the user would have to do a fair amount of fishing to find things using that standard interface. And that fishing is eliminated when you use this enhanced interface because it's organized around usage context. If we look inside the brand section, there's three subsections again: brands, products, and videos. Now in the brands subsection, we can see there's this new item at the top. This is another mini inbox for the workflow. And there's one item in there that is in process. And below that is the list, the enhanced list of the nodes themselves that are brand items. We can use the same interface that we use in Drupal. It is that same interface, just in a different context. So we can filter down, we can find the Halloween node. There it is, just as we normally would, but it's all within this particular area of usage. Okay, so let's say we want to create a new article. Now, the button itself is fairly obvious. It used to be a link, but now it's a nice blue button. We can read it easily. Click on that, we go to the creation form, and just fill it out as you would normally. Add some content. We're just going to use a bit of lorem ipsum here. Pick an image. And then when we get down below, we'll see the workflow stuff. So we're just going to keep this in draft for now. And we're just going to give it the basic information. We give the version a title. We're going to call it new article for demo. And we put a log message in there. We're just saying it's the initial draft. That just logs what we're doing. And then it's there in the inbox. And let's say we come back to it at a later point. We want to finish off this content. We add those final details, we go down, and we're going to change the state. We're going to now push it through to regulatory review. That's the next state in the workflow. And then we add our note to log what we've just done, and hit save. Now it's changed state. It's gone from that blue color to a purple color to give you a cue as to where it is. Now if we happen to be the regulatory reviewer, this is what we'd see. Just an inbox with just your items, so that it's very efficient. You don't get lost with all the other functionality that isn't needed. You can just see exactly what you need to do. I've got two items, one's red, it's kind of overdue. But let's just look at this one right now. We're going to make our regulatory reviewer changes. Make sure that everything is ready for publication. And then when we've done that, scroll down to the bottom, push it through the workflow a bit more, and we're going to send it off to translation. That's the next state. Add our note, and hit save. Now it's ready for translation. So if we were a translation user, we'd probably come in, take a look at the content, read it over, get a sense of what we have to do, and then hit the add translation button. That's standard Drupal approach. But we're in the French site now, so we just get rid of the English content that was in the French node, the French version of the node, and now add in our pseudo-French content, and we're going to say it's ready for publication. We're basically giving it approval, or passing it on for approval for publication, I should say. So we can see it's yellow. That means it's approved and ready for publication. Let's just have a look at the versions interface here for a second, because there's another link there in that inbox, in that table. And you can see the entire history of what this content item's been through. You can see all the log notes that we made. You can see all the colors at the left that represent the different states it's been through. And you can see actually also the revision IDs. So you can see from this that the version is a collection of revisions grouped together under a high-level name that means something to the end user. You can also look at it through the map. And that gives you a kind of a two-dimensional display. You can see things moving from the bottom left to the top right as they head towards publication, again with the color cues. And there's active links in there, so you can actually do the editing from here. So when we're ready to actually publish, the manager will come in here, set the state to publish, add some log note. You can also set publication dates and unpublication dates. So we're just going to throw in an unpublished time here, just later on today in 20 minutes or so, just for demonstration. Hit save. And when we get back to the articles page, we see that it's left the inbox and it's now down below with all the other published items. If we look at the versions page, we can see that it's there, the green. And there's two instances of green. One is the history itself of that version, and the other is it's the current published version, just for very direct, quick access, and you know that it's actually published that way as well. And you see that the revision IDs are identical. It's the same thing. So the one at the top, of course, is the one that's on the node table, in case you're a developer and hearing this. You can edit from here, of course. And when you want to make a second version, you can pick any one of these versions, go in there, hit new version, give it a new version title, and then add an appropriate log message. In this case, we're going to get rid of the date as well, that unpublished date, and save it. And now we have an item in the inbox as well as the item down below, which is the published version. So we got this new draft in the workflow again. So if we look at the versions table, or the versions page, we can see that there's two instances there, and then also on the map you can see that new instance is there as well, starting its way from the left. If you compare this enhanced interface to the standard interfaces, this is the standard Stateflow interface. Stateflow interface is very low level, it's functional, but it doesn't give you a lot of cues, a lot of hints, a lot of context as to what things are doing and what they mean. And even more so with the revisions table. It's just all very low level, a bunch of text, a bunch of titles, a bunch of revision IDs, as opposed to in the versions where you can actually see useful information about collections of revisions that have something to do with our content publishing process within the business.